Here's something that'll blow your mind. If you skip your daily $12 avocado toast for 30 years straight, you'd save around 131 grand. Sounds amazing, right? That's practically a down payment. Except, the median house price has jumped by over 400% in that same time frame. So congratulations, you've sacrificed 3 decades of brunches and still can't afford the house your parents bought on a single income, whilst eating whatever they wanted. Today, we're diving into the real reason why home ownership feels impossible for younger generations, why the avocado toast debate completely misses the point, and how to actually think about money in a world where the rules are fundamentally changed. Let's get real about the numbers for a second, because this is where the whole conversation usually falls apart. When boomers bought their first homes in the 70s and 80s, the average house cost roughly 3 to 4 times the average annual salary. Today, we're looking at 8 to 10 times, and in major cities it's even worse. I'm talking 12, 15 times your annual income. So when someone says, just stop buying expensive coffee, what they're really saying is that your $4 latte is the problem standing between you and a $600,000 house. The maths simply doesn't add up. You'd need to give up that latte every single day for 411 years to afford that house. Pretty sure none of us are going to be living that long. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't actually about defending reckless spending. I've always been more naturally wired towards saving than spending. I get that dopamine hit from watching my savings account grow, not from instant purchases. And honestly, I think this mindset has served me well. The ability to delay gratification, to think 5 years ahead instead of 5 minutes ahead, that's genuinely valuable. But we have to be honest about what we're really dealing with here. Here's the unusual perspective that most people miss in this debate. Millennials and Gen Z actually save a higher percentage of their income than previous generations did at the same age. Let that sink in. The data shows younger people today are more financially cautious, not less. They're dealing with student loan debt that's tripled, wages that have barely moved in 40 years when adjusted for inflation, and housing costs that have skyrocketed. The avocado toast thing? It became a meme because an Australian millionaire told young people that's why they can't buy houses. But the real issue is that productivity has increased massively over the decades, whilst wages haven't kept up. We're actually producing more value per hour worked than ever before in history, but that value isn't making it into workers' paychecks, it's getting concentrated at the top. I've had conversations with older people about this, and how they bought their first house at 25, working a regular job, no university or college degree. Then they mentioned to me that I need to work harder and stop wasting money. So what I end up doing is showing them. I pull up a calculator and show them that if they had bought that same house today with today's wages, they would need to save 100% of their income for 12 years. Not 90%, not 80%, every single penny. No food, no rent, no nothing. So where does this leave us? Because here's where I think both sides of the argument get it wrong. The older generation acts like minor spending is the problem, which it obviously isn't. But some younger folks have swung completely the other direction, adopting this YOLO mentality, where long-term planning feels pointless. And I get it. When home ownership feels mathematically impossible, why even try? Why not just enjoy life now? But here's the thing. Giving up completely is exactly how you guarantee you'll never get there, and this is where finding your personal balance becomes crucial. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone's values are different. Some people genuinely get more happiness from experiences and daily pleasures than from delayed financial goals. And you know what? That's totally valid. Life isn't just about accumulating numbers in a bank account. For me personally, I lean towards saving because that's what feels natural, but I've had to learn to loosen up too. I used to feel guilty about any non-essential purchases. Every time I'd buy lunch instead of packing one, I'd overthink it and hesitate, even though it was a small occasional purchase. That's a miserable way to live. I wasn't enjoying my 20s because I was too obsessed with my theoretical 60s. The balance I've found is this. Automate your savings first. Decide what percentage feels ambitious but not suffocating, and set up automatic transfers. And then, genuinely don't stress about the rest. If your savings are handled, that remaining money is yours to enjoy guilt-free. Go get the avocado toast, take the trip, buy the game tickets. Because here's the truth. You could save perfectly for 40 years and get hit by a bus tomorrow. Financial responsibility matters, but so does actually living your life. And let's also not forget to address the elephant in the room. For many people, especially Gen Z, the fear of never owning a home isn't just pessimism, it's a rational response to real data. Investment firms are buying up housing and turning everything into rentals. zoning laws prevent new housing construction, foreign investors park money in real estate, which also ends up driving up prices. These aren't problems you can solve by skipping breakfast. And the most frustrating part is the people who benefited most from affordable housing are often the same ones voting against new housing developments because it might affect their property values. They've got theirs, pulled up the ladder, and then lecture young people about financial responsibility. But here's what you can control: your skills, your income growth, your financial literacy, and your geographic flexibility. Maybe you can't afford a house in London or New York. That's not failure, that's just maths. But there are places where home ownership is still realistic. I'm not saying everyone should move to the middle of nowhere, but being open to opportunities outside the most expensive cities dramatically does change your options. Also, you could consider alternative paths: house hacking by renting out rooms, multi-generational housing with family, co-buying with friends. These aren't traditional, but traditional is broken anyway. The old roadmap doesn't work anymore, so we kind of need to draw new maps. So all in all, here's what I want you to take away from this. The avocado toast debate is designed to distract you from systemic problems by making everything about personal responsibility. Don't fall for it. You're not failing because you bought coffee. The system is rigged against you. But also, don't let that reality become an excuse for financial nihilism. Yes, it's harder than it's ever been. Yes, that's unfair. And yes, previous generations had massive advantages that they don't acknowledge. All of that is true, and you still have to play the hand you're dealt. Think longer term when it comes to the big stuff. Be strategic about career growth, skill development, and building other income streams. But for the love of everything, make sure to enjoy the small pleasures too. The goal isn't to sacrifice everything for a house. The goal is to build a life worth living, whilst also creating future opportunities. So why don't you try this today? Calculate one specific financial goal, automate savings towards it, and then consciously spend some money on something that brings you joy this week, without guilt. You need both: the discipline to delay gratification of big things, and the wisdom to appreciate small things now. Drop a comment below and let me know. What's your personal balance? Are you team save everything or team enjoy now? How do you think about this topic? And if you found this helpful, share it with someone who's stuck in either extreme of this debate. I think we need more nuanced conversations about money, not more finger pointing. The truth is, you probably can't buy a house just by giving up avocado toast, but you can build a better financial future while still actually enjoying your life. And that's the real goal anyway. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.